Welcome to Deck Analysis and Testing. Today we have a look at Unchained. Unchained are fiend monsters that like to pop their own cards. Almost all of their cards, including their spells and traps, summon from deck when they are popped. Despite not having some of their best support recently released in the TCG, the deck is actually surprisingly good. Turns out every monster having a floating effect is really annoying in a format like Duel Links, and being able to reset a trap that pops every turn while also having a quick effect link monster that links away your opponent's monsters is actually quite strong. And the best news is that this deck is extremely cheap. Thankfully, it seems like Unchained won't be repeating the same fate as Prank Kids once did. Actually, okay, let's have a look at the individual cards. Basically, every single main deck Unchained card, be it monster or spell and trap, will summon an Unchained from hand or deck when they are popped, so I won't be repeating that effect over and over again. And with that said, let's have a look at the cards. First, we have the monsters. We have the Water Unchained. This can, as a quick effect, pop a card you control. It can be face up or face down, which is really useful, and also locks you into fiends. Next is the other level 3 Unchained. The Fire one can special summon itself from your hand by popping a card you control, and also locks you into fiends. But none of this matters because all of the Unchains are fiends, and we are not playing any other monster that isn't an Unchained monster. And finally, for the last low-level Unchained, we have the Dark one, which is really useful because it resets a back row every single turn by popping a card you control afterwards. So what you do is, usually you use the first two, either the Fire or the Water one, to pop a trap like Escape, and then use Escape's effect to special summon the Dark one from your deck, and then use the Dark one's effect to reset the trap, and then pop the first monster that you used to pop the back row, and then use their Graveyard effect to bring out a big Unchained monster from your main deck. And speaking of the big Unchains, we have the level 8 Unchained Soul of Disaster. So basically, Unchained monsters are classified as Unchained or Unchained Soul monsters. So the Souls are the big ones, and the Links, these are the Unchained Souls. And the Unchained Soul Link monsters need to use an Unchained Soul as the Link material, so you can't just use any of the small ones, you must use a big one. And this is one of them. This can gain a bit of attack, which doesn't really matter too much because you usually use it as a link material, either just by normal link summoning or using its effect. During your main phase, you can link summon using discard and one monster your opponent controls, which is a really good form of removal. And also, if it's destroyed by a battle card effect, you can, instead of summoning from a hand or deck like the others, this summons from the graveyard. And we have 3 copies of the other big Unchained, which is Abominable Unchained Soul. This, we probably don't need 3 copies of this, but because we're using the skill, we want to play more high-level fiends just so we can boost our consistency by using our skill to put this to the bottom of our deck and draw 1 if we happen to open it in our opening hand, and that increases the chance of us actually opening good cards like the search spell or utility like Storm. Anyway, this can only be special summoned once per turn, which is really important to take a note of because it has an effect that special summons itself by if one of your cards gets destroyed, and also special summons itself when it itself is destroyed during the end phase. So you can only use one of them per turn because you can only special summon it once per turn. And also, whenever it's special summoned, you can discard a card and destroy 1 card on the field. So if you have a way to bring it out as a quick effect, this is basically a disruption. And let's have a look at the back row. We have the ultra rare Abomination's Prison. It is not actually an Unchained card, and that means you can't reset it with the effect of the Dark Unchained. This is basically your search spell. You use it to search anything. And we have the other spell, which is Wailing. This is a continuous spell and makes you able to pop a card every time you link summon. So if you use the quick effect of your link to link summon during your opponent's turn, this is basically a free pop in addition to that as well. For the traps, we're playing 3 copies of Escape of the Unchained. This is our main form of removal from the back row. This can target 2 cards, one from your side and one from your opponent's side, and destroy them both. And also has the typical graveyard effect of all of the Unchained main deck cards that summon from deck when it's popped. And finally, we have the last trap, which is Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. This is your main revival trap. Can summon from your hand or graveyard by activating it, and also has the graveyard effect. And for utility, we have 1 copy of Storm. This is kind of a starter because you can use this to pop your own back row and summon from a deck using their own effect. And also, obviously, this is just really good as back row removal because it pops without targeting. And we have 2 copies of Time Space Trap Holes just to make our deck 20 cards. For our extra deck, we're playing only the Unchained stuff because we don't actually need other stuff. The only other links we need is probably the Nightmares because we are Fiend locked and those are the best Fiend link monsters that we could make. But in this free-to-play version, we are not playing those. So let's have a look at the Unchained link monsters. First is Unchained Soul of Rage. This is the link 2 that has a quick effect to link summon using itself and 1 monster your opponent controls. Next is the link 3. Anguish has basically the same effect, but you can only use it during your own turn during your main phase. So the link 2 is Disruption, and makes you into the link 3, and the link 3 is a removal during your turn. And both of these have graveyard effects to add back a feed from the graveyard back to your hand instead of summoning from your deck. And finally, we have the boss monster, Unchained Abomination. You don't actually summon this card that often. The only main way you're going to summon this card is using the effect of the link 3 to link summon using it and one of your opponent's monsters. And this is going to be the monster you will be summoning. Or you can actually just summon another link 2 using the link 3 because you can link backwards and no one's going to stop you from doing that. So if you can't win that turn, sometimes it's better to just link into the link 2 so you have another disruption during your opponent's turn. But anyway, this is a really big link. It has 3k attack, and it just pops cards all the time. So if a card is popped by card effect, it pops a card. If another monster is destroyed by battle, you pop another card. During the end phase, you just pop another card. And yeah, this is just a really big guy that keeps popping cards. Let's have a look at the skill real quick. This is a new skill, Fiend Exchange. You can obtain this from a lot of characters. It is not actually a legacy skill, but it can be obtained similarly to Life Point Boost Alpha. You can get the skill from a lot of characters. And basically, during the start of your main phase, you can place 1 level 5 or higher feed from your hand back to the bottom of your deck, and you can draw a card for free. And that's really good because it doesn't shuffle it back to the deck, it places it back to the bottom, and that really, really reduces the chances of you drawing the same card. And you won't draw the same card if you're only playing 1 copy, and even if you're playing multiples, like we are in Abominable Unchained Soul, it's still a lot less likely to actually draw back the thing that you just put back into your deck. And this is actually a really good consistency boost because it basically makes you have a thinner deck. You're playing basically a 16 card deck because if you have any of these in your opening hand, you just put them back and draw a card for free. And that really boosts our consistency, especially in this free-to-play version where we don't have access to more copies of the super rare Unchained small main deck monsters. And this is actually twice per duel, so it does come up. You can also use one of the links to add back the big guys from the graveyard. For example, after you use the effect of Unchained Soul of Disaster to link summon into the link 2, and the link 2 dies, you can add back the Disaster to your hand, and then during your next turn you can shuffle this back for a free draw, and also put back the dog in your main deck for you to summon with any of your other effects when they are popped. Okay, so let's quickly go over the expensive version. It's basically the same thing. As I said in the intro, this deck is really cheap. The only difference is that we're just playing Nightmares because these are Fiend monsters. So we're playing Nightmare Unicorn and a Nightmare Phoenix, and these two are valid targets for your Unchained Soul of Rage. So if instead of making the Unchained Link free, you can instead make a Unicorn and bounce another card for free at the cost of a discard. And also, we're just playing generic good stuff like Ice Dragon's Prison because the skill doesn't lock us into anything, and we don't play any limit-free cards. So yeah, that's basically it. Let's have a look at the games. Okay, so let's have a look at the first game. We're playing against Tachyon, and we are going first, so let's see what we can do. This deck is quite consistent. It's not as consistent as other decks that have exclusive skills, but considering that we have so many starters and the 2-card combos, it's usually fine. We do open with the search spell, so we are able to search anything we want. We're going to use the small Unchained to pop the back row. Our opponent just fires all the hand traps right now. I don't know why they would do that. And also, like, this guy doesn't really do anything on the field, so yeah, people just don't know how to play against Unchained. We're gonna summon a bunch of guys and just popping our stuff and gaining a lot of advantage. Basically, every time you pop something, we get something for free, so the main game plan is just to pop your own stuff as much as possible. We're gonna end on a link to the continuous spell and the escape. Actually, no, that's not escape, that's abominable chamber, because our opponent DD crowed our escape. Anyway, our opponent will summon a bunch of level 8s, and before they can make anything funny, we'll just immediately use the effect of the Link 2 to make the Link free, using one of our opponent's monsters as material. And then also the continuous spell will be able to pop one of our opponent's monsters as well. Our opponent will be able to summon Seyfert and search a level 8, but Seyfert is a 4, so they can't make anything, and they are going to scoop. Okay, so that's all cool, but what are we gonna do when we go a second? And this time we're facing against a tier 1 deck. We're playing against Borrowlink, and thankfully Borrowlink aren't very good at making turn 1 boards, usually if they don't open Ibli. But as we can see, our opponent does not open with the Ibli lock, or maybe they're not playing it, I don't know, but our opponent will still attempt to set up a quite a formidable turn 1 board, to be honest. It's going to be a rapid trigger in their hand that we saw they searched, and also you'll be able to see that they're going to make a Decode Talker, which will actually be able to negate our Unchained Soul of Disaster when we try to link summon using our opponent's monsters as part of the material, because it does target. But anyway, we did open really well, so we'll see what we can do. We're gonna use the level 3 to pop the escape summon the water pop chamber summon Sarama pop the Raikia, and then just summon the big dog. The big dog will attempt to link summon using our opponent's monsters as material, but he of course cannot negate that, but that's fine because if he negates and destroys it, we can use the graveyard effect to summon something back from our graveyard. We're gonna crash into one of our opponent's monsters and then summon the big guy from our deck and attempt to walk over that Decode Talker. He's gonna make a Furious and then use the effect to pop both the Decode and one of our back row. That's fine, we'll crash and attack with both of our low attack level 3 Unchained and deal quite a bit of damage. In the end phase, he's gonna summon back a rocket. He's gonna Dark Hole, but like Unchained is like the worst deck you can use Dark Hole against because all of our monsters get effects when they're popped. So we're just gonna summon 2 guys, and one of them is even like really big, so good luck to him. He's gonna make the Link 2 from his skill, pop itself, summon back 2 rockets. He's gonna attack over our monster, who cares, we're just gonna summon another one. And he's gonna attack over it. We're gonna use a trap, summon something from grave. Yeah, he's gonna scoop from here. Okay, in game 3, in our last game, it's time for the expensive version, and we are going first. Our opponent is going to play BLS, interestingly, and we opened enough. It's not the best, but we do have a skill activation to let us just put back that level 8 back to the deck, and we draw the best card of the entire deck, and I will take that. You're gonna pop the escape to summon the Aruha summoned Sarama pop and set back the escape. We're gonna make the link 2, set another trap, and pass back to our opponent. That is 2 disruptions and a million follow-up. Opponent will just make it the envoy of the beginning. We're gonna link summon using that, and our link 2, making the link 3. Our opponent will add another BLS to their hand, and then use Chaos Form to summon it, which is completely fine because before they leave their main phase, we're going to pop it using Trap. We're going to pop it and our link 3, and using the link 3 to add back one of our monsters to our hand for follow-up. Opponent's going to set free and pass. During our main phase, we're just going to bring back the link 3, and then use the search spell to search the continuous spell, which allows us to pop one of their cards every single turn. But before we do that, we're just going to set it face down and pop it using our level 3 Unchained. And then we are going to attempt to reset it using the effect of our Saurama, but our opponent will warning point, but that's fine. Our opponent has 1 card in hand, 1 set card, and we have all the follow-up we want. He's going to summon normal BLS, which does nothing. I don't think it really does anything. And also he used his Chaos Form last turn, so he can't really summon the other guy that he had in his hand. So he's just gonna beat over our link 3, I guess. We're gonna grab back the big dog, and next turn we're gonna shuffle it back to our deck. Actually no, we put it back to the bottom of our deck and draw a card. And this IDP is just the nail in the coffin. Completely unnecessary, but we'll take that. We're gonna pop our own stuff and use the effect of the level 8 that we drew off the top to summon from hand. We're gonna use Disaster to link, but before we can do that, our opponent will be scooping. Good game, good game.